I want to try and stay as calm and collective as possible to get my points across, but after watching that absolutely disgraceful display, I don't think it's going to happen. I made a video about the England squad and Roy's selections, praising the majority of them, and only really having a problem with a few picks and some players that were left out. But after yet another disappointing competition, most of them will probably change now. While some just didn't perform well because of the managerial decisions, which they can't do much about, others need a serious look at, as does Roy. I don't care if he's resigned, his contract was up anyway, so rather than really going for it, he just sat back, made lazy decisions and just let the competition take its course until he was done. Not looking busy during your notice period simply because you have to do it, but having no invested interest in what you're doing and that it will just be someone else's problem soon anyway. I think we all knew he was going to be a letdown, using the same boring tactics he has employed throughout his dismal managerial career, but with this young, skillful and talented team, the group stage and first knockout should have been easy enough, right? Practically all of Roy's decisions during this competition were wrong, and it seemed like the coaching staff were just a complete shambles. I don't want this to seem like an all-out attack on Roy, but he didn't even get the basics right that anyone who has played Football Manager or FIFA Career Mode would have. He didn't even know his strongest team or setup. Most of the other teams have made a couple of changes between games because of a different formation or fitness, and while England may have many different options which is good, there's still got to be one that works better than the others. But Roy didn't even have an it always works setup that would only need to be changed when the other teams started catching on. Another big problem was some of his selection choices. I said it before and I'll say it again, Jack Wilshere and Jordan Henderson should not have gone. It's especially infuriating when informed players like Milner and Barkley didn't get a look in and Drinkwater didn't even go. All Roy done here was tick the box of, yeah, he's got more England caps, in you go, but Henderson was poor like he's been all season, and Wilshere's fitness was way below par because he's barely played this year. Like every graduate or young person looking to start their career, you'll be accepted if you have previous experience, yet no one is willing to give it to you. We once again had a fantastic opportunity to blood some young new players and try to increase the tempo, but opted for the same slow build-up, break a team down attitude that's got England precisely nowhere for a decade. The final thing that should have been sending the alarm bells ringing is that even if we got through, 2 of our matches required 3+ strikers to be on the field to give England any hope of winning the match. First against Wales with Rashford, Vardy and Sturridge, plus Rooney depending on how you want to count him, but he was more of a midfielder, and then again with the addition of Kane in the Iceland match. I'm all for an all-out attack approach, but do it from the start and kill the game off, not as a last-ditch effort. It worked against Wales, putting them under immense pressure and we got the win, so why not start strong in the Iceland match and put the same pressure on? We finally see something that works and then it gets completely disregarded. Before I go any further, I just want to point out I have nothing against Iceland, and I know everyone's sharing their opinion has said it, but it needs to be clarified. Iceland know that they're a small country in comparison, and in reality they probably didn't see themselves getting so far. They were just happy to be in the competition, so I don't think a lot of offence will be taken when people say England should have won this match. However, they always had belief in their team, and each win and progression was like them winning the final, and now no one can rule them out. All I have for them is praise and admiration, coming into the competition with a population the size of Leicester, and before having indoor facilities having to play only a fraction of the time due to snow. They could be the fairy tale team like the little city that won the Premier League. They had the better setup, tactics and passion that England lacked from the start. Yes, they played the majority of the game with 11 men behind the ball, but this is a tactic that all small teams use when playing big teams. England knew they were going to do it and should have prepared a lot more for it by playing tighter, shorter passes and making constant runs to try and get them out of shape. Most importantly, do not let them have the lead, as this would give them the opportunity to sit back and see the game out. But we all know how that went. Instead, English fans got a diabolical and downright shameful performance. Easing up on Roy for just a moment, as the players are just as much to blame, especially in this game, for the failure that we had to suffer. The side simply had no drive, determination or passion in this game after England went 2-1 down. Players stopped what little runs they were doing and just spread out across the pitch. While this might have been to spread Iceland, all it did was isolate everyone from the midfield, who simply made little sideways or backwards passes, never making any ground or losing the ball as soon as it moved forward. They were playing as though the lead was theirs and they just needed to see the game out, when it was the moment they needed a full-out attack to try and salvage the game. Rashford ridiculously came on in the 87th minute, and he was our best player. He made 3 take-ons in 5 minutes, and that was more than any other player. Are you seriously kidding me? We were all split on whether he should go or not, and apart from Kyle Walker, he's probably been our best player, even though he's played a fraction of the time as everyone else. What we needed was the same pressure of the 3 fast attackers that we used to beat the Welsh of Vardy, Sturridge and Rashford, and rather than trying to break a team down, we just needed to put them under pressure and make them lose some shape. Wilshere was well off the pace, Rooney wasn't controlling the movement of the ball and was definitely not going forward, and Sterling's end of play after running and running is completely non-existent. It's still mind-boggling why Kane was taking corners and free kicks when Dyer had already proved he is far better at them, and it just got more and more embarrassing as every cross was 10 foot in the air and we couldn't even get a shot on target. It was honestly hard to watch as what little take-ons we made failed instantly and we couldn't even make the simplest of passes. To make matters worse, Iceland then went and connected a 5-pass move which almost scored them another goal. I said in my other video that Hart was the obvious and best choice of keeper. Not anymore. The curse of the England number 1 has struck again. After he spilled his save from Bow, I had some sympathy. It was a quality free kick and hard to save when blindsided by the wall, but he read it. He instantly dived low and yet he still couldn't stop it. Yes, he shouldn't have had to deal with the Iceland shot, the defence was poor and they aren't escaping my rant, but it was such a weak attempt. The ball was hardly flying at him and nor was it right in the corner. Sunday league keepers probably could have saved it with their foot, so God knows how it made it to the back of the net. I've never been so frustrated or disappointed as when I watched this side just tap the ball back and forth while Europe was getting ready to turf us out once again. There was literally no fight in them. The bags were packed, the lion mascot stuffed away so no one could see it, and their minds had wandered to what on-flight meal they would have. Don't worry about the fans who have once again done all they can to get behind you. Don't worry about our reputation, and hey, it's just another group we should have topped, another game we should have won. There's always another competition. It's hard to say how let down I feel yet again, and for someone who loves football and watching England, it's got to the stage where I don't know if I even want to watch the World Cup in 2 years. I've only watched a handful of tournaments and I'm tired of this already. I can only apologise for moaning to those who have suffered more. To take the cherry off the cake, Hodgson even said at the press conference, "I don't know what I'm doing here." Truer words have never been spoken, but this was in relation to facing the media and not the shit show we had just witnessed. This for me was the last straw. Roy's received a lot of criticism over this from pundits and fans, and while I would argue that it should be made constructively, this comment allowed no quarter. How can you possibly say that? Just because you've resigned doesn't mean you get to wash your hands of that colossal fuck up. We might not want to hear it, but at least try to be sorry and admit you were wrong. His body language clearly showed that he didn't give a crap, and this, like most of his involvement, was just a lacklustre, forced showing. The options for new manager are barely encouraging, with Gareth Southgate leading the odds, who is another standard setup, no risk taking manager, who failed with the under-21s, or Gary Neville, who failed with Valencia and got kicked out after only 4 months in charge, and was part of Roy's team. Alan Pardew is also a contender, and while he does bring some success at club level, I think his constant and again safe setup will wear thin very early on. I'm not trying to give an answer here, just pointing out that even the new favourites are just as disappointing. Harry Redknapp could be a good choice, being a dominant manager. He will draw better performances from the players and demand more from them, but he's already rejected the job. The new favourite is Jürgen Klinsmann, who might not be too bad of a choice. Having previously been successful with the German national side and building up current head coach Joachim Löw, who is his assistant, he could bring a new flair to the England team, which is in desperate need of it. Löw even said he brought a new era for the German side by altering different staff and youth setups. Regardless of who becomes the new manager, it is clear that some drastic changes need to be made in the way the team is picked, the setup and tactics. You only need to glance at the other top countries to notice how far behind England are in their play, and I've simply had enough of these half-hearted displays. What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more, but for now, that's your sport in law.